show. I asked him to make me look nice. He made me look like Patrick Mahomes. So, it was actually Jeremy from Great Clips. So, my name's Simon. I'm from England, but I've lived in America for the past 8 years or so, so that has made me Australian. I don't know why I sound like this. It's so scary. I love being in the South, though. The South is my favorite place. I love going to all these quaint, charming, small towns in the South. They're so charming. The only thing that's weird about it to me is when all these people in these small towns are like, we got a lot of history down here. I'm like, I wouldn't brag about that one bit. I focus on the weather. That's what I do. It's like, what's that white mansion in a field? It's 17 in March. That's what it is. I love the South. I love people from small towns. So they are the best. All they care about is community as well. All they care about is community. You just can't be too specific. Like people in small towns will be like, I would do anything for my next door neighbor. And you're like, Susan? And they're like, I forgot about that bitch. If she doesn't return my weed whacker today, I'm gonna murder that motherfucker, alright? I love it. It's very nice to be here. I wish, it's very nice that you all showed up. I've been on the road for a while. I started headlining, and it's not going great, to be honest. I was in St. Louis a couple of weeks ago. I was too nervous to email the club to see how many tickets I had sold, so I just called up the box office. I was like, hey, I'm looking to get 10 tickets to see Simon Fraser. And the lady on the other end was just like, that's not going to be a problem at all. We can see you wherever you like. It's good. I wish I were a musician. It's so much easier to be a musician. Like comedy, there's a lot of expectations, right? People always want to see new material. You ever do old material, people are like, this guy's a hack. I've never seen him again. But music, you go to a concert to hear your favorite song. Like that's why, and musicians like, I'm gonna play a new one. You're like, I'm gonna go get a beer. I don't know. I came for Love Story, that's why I'm here. And musicians, they can cover other musicians. People go crazy. You have people like, oh my god, Beyonce covered a Taylor Swift song. I did one Chris Rock joke one time. Everyone lost their shit. I think it was because of one word. But anyway. It's just really the hardest part about comedy, musicians, they can perform for 4 hours. You're like, oh my god, that is the greatest show I've ever been to. I saw them perform for 4 hours. I just got up here and already some of you are like, this is gonna wrap up pretty soon, right? Like musicians, you can say anything you like in music, it just has to be catchy. Stand-up, we have to make points that are logically coherent. Music, you can say anything you like as long as it's catchy. Like my favorite movie growing up was a little indie flick called High School Musical. If you haven't seen it, it's a classic American underdog story of the hottest guy in the high school hooking up with the hottest girl in the high school with the encouragement of his super horny dad. That's the entire plot. But there's this one song in High School Musical called Stick to the Status Quo. And the premise of the song is 3 high schoolers share their deepest, darkest, most intimate secret with an entire high school cafeteria, and then an entire high school cafeteria bullies the shit out of them. This first guy, Zeke, is like, I like to bake, and everyone at once goes, no, no, no. And then they say, stick to the stuff you know, and they all point at a basketball. And Zeke is one of 2 black guys in the entire movie. And then they bring out this fully rehearsed song and dance, which I don't know about you, is way more embarrassing than liking to bake. Like Zeke just wants to make a creme brulee. That takes an hour max. 200 high school students have covertly met up to rehearse an original musical number. With choreo. Just to shame Zeke for a secret they didn't know he was keeping. And then this next girl, Martha's like, I have a secret, and everyone says, speak your mind and you'll be heard. Judging from recent history, unlikely. She says, I like to pop and lock. And one person says, and this is my favorite line in the history of movies, is that even legal? And then they bring out the same song and dance. They keep on singing, stick to the stuff you know. If you want to be cool, follow one simple rule. Don't mess with the flow. No, no. And that gives the opposite message of what life should be. That you have to stay in your lane, that you can't be an individual. But because it was set to a catchy tune, I'd be 10 years old telling myself, I gotta stick to the status quo. That's what you can say anything in a song. You guys know the song Love the One You're With by Crosby, Stills and Nash? Because if you can't be with the one you love the one you're with. That's a song about love, the importance of love. you just don't want that to be your wedding song. Can you imagine walking down the aisle, seeing your high school ex in the second row, be like, this one's for you, babe. It's a very depressing song, but people think it's this cheery love song, because after the chorus, it goes, doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. You can never do that in stand-up. I can never be like, I hate my wife. Doo-doo-doo. Like, I would never. We don't listen to lyrics. Born in the USA by Springsteen. That's an anti-American song, but because the chorus sounds patriotic, it's played at Republican rallies. When you listen to the lyrics in songs, Democrats should be playing Born in the USA. Republicans should be playing Stick to the Status Quo. And whichever party loses in November should have to play Love the One You're With. I was watching the rugby recently. I went to an Irish pub to watch it, and so everyone there was Irish. I didn't realize I was wearing a green shirt, so everyone there also thought that I was Irish. So they all started talking to me. I realized I can let them know I was English, you know, because of history. And so I didn't know what to do. They were like, what do you think of the game? And I was just like, oh, looks like a pretty good game to me. And they were like, wow, we didn't know you were Indian. That's cool. I've never met a white Indian before. It's great. I love being in the South. I really do love the South. I love chatting to all these people from these small towns. They're obsessed with Jeffrey Epstein. That's the big thing. They're all obsessed with one guy who's speaking. It's like, Jeffrey Epstein was a pedophile, a sex trafficker, a bad house guest. And I was like, well, the third one's not as bad as the other two. You ever notice how when people are mad at someone, they always throw in extra details that aren't as bad as the main details, but taken together, it makes that person seem even worse? That last thing that hurt the worst about, I had an ex-girlfriend of mine. She heckled me at a show. She said, Simon, you are a racist, you are a sexist, and you are bad in bed. I was like, I am not bad in bed. Are you Chinese bitch? No. It's a joke, I'm not racist, I'm not sexist, I'm bad in bed. So, you all see my penis, and they say, wow, I am actually on my period. So, I don't know. It's true though. You do have to be a good housekeeper. It's a true point. Like I was raised. I'm a Jew. I'm a bad Jew. I'm a what's the word? Catholic. But I wasn't raised any kind of. The one thing my parents raised me to be was a good house guest. They said, Simon, it doesn't matter how you act at home, you go to someone else's house, you play by their rules. And I internalized that. I was staying in an RV with this guy in rural Mississippi, not important how. And he started talking to me, he was like, what do you think about Joe Biden? And I was like, what do you think about Joe Biden? He said he stole the election. I said, you're goddamn right he did. He said, it's all the Jews in Hollywood. I said, they're the devils in disguise. Love traveling, love being in America, man. Such good food all around the world. People always like hate on Americans for not traveling. It's like, well, yeah, because we got everything right here. We don't need to go anywhere. Every country is here. Like, we got all the food. Chinese food, that's my favorite food. My favorite, I love Szechuan food. It's like extra spicy Chinese food. My favorite dish is the Chongqing chicken wings. I just hate ordering that. Because it makes it sound like I haven't even looked at a menu. And I'm just a massive racist. I think that's probably how it got its name. Like one time a racist came into a Chinese restaurant and was like, Chongqing, Chongqing. And the staff were like, look, if he's gonna attack us, we're gonna charge him. So it's just weird because Chongqing is a real place. It just also happens to be the fourth largest city. It also happens to be, it's the fourth largest city in China. It just also happens to be the laziest, easiest insult towards Chinese people. If you think of like a Chinese person came into an American diner and was like, can I get the guns, abortion, fentanyl, cheeseburger? So it was like, we're in Georgia, we're out of abortion, so... That is one thing I do think the British, that's one thing I do think the rest of the world does better than America. I think we have better insults. I think the reason why is because we don't have guns. Because anytime an American has gotten off a really good insult, whoever they've insulted has just shot them. And everyone's like, what did he say? And he's like, he ain't gonna say it again, I'll tell you that. I just found a lot cunt, your lass is a slag, and your dad's a bender. In America, like, your mother's lovely, your girlfriend's friendly, and your father has secrets. I like living in a country with guns. It makes it so much more exciting to live in. Because you never know what day is going to be your last. It forces you to make the most out of every day. Like Tim McGraw was spot on. You got to live life like you're dying. Every day, I get out of bed. I go skydiving, Rocky Mountain climbing. I go 2.7 seconds on a bull named Fu Manchu. My doc's like, when are you going to stop coming in here? I'm like, could be any day. These Europeans, like, why don't you just live in Europe, Simon? It's so safe, but just live in Europe. Look, you want to live for a while, live in Europe, but you want to live. Kennesaw. I know nothing about that place, I'm sorry to say. I would like being in America. I'd like the kind of immigrant who would love America, right? It's so easy. I speak the language, everyone loves the accent. Oh my God, America, people love the British accent. American guys, they always come up to me off the shows. They're like, Simon, would English girls find my American accent attractive? I'm like, yeah, if you were hot. If you were hot and interesting, I'm sure it'd be a plus. It's not some cheat code like it is here, where you can just say tomato, where girls are like, what are you doing later? A real immigrant, though, is like someone who has to learn the language. That's a serious immigrant. Like my buddy, I had a buddy in high school. He went to boarding school. And you guys know what boarding school is, right? Yeah, gay high school. So, he was from South Africa, so Afrikaans was his first language, English was second language. Sometimes he would get his phrases muddled up. So one time he was playing this chess tournament. He lost in the final. Afterwards I asked him, how do you think he did? He said, bro, I thought I was as good as him, if not worse. I was like, that's not a phrase. But it absolutely should be. It's like, hey, how did the Falcons do last season? As good as the Saints, if not worse. He said, bro, am I going to be in your stand-up now? I said, yeah, you just said one of the funniest things anyone's ever said. If not less funny. Like, that's a real image. Like, I'm from anyone here from another country? By the way, where are you from, sir?
Vietnam.
Vietnam? No way. Do you know the capital of Vietnam is Hanoi?
Yes.
It's a little trick I learned when I was 18. I learned the capital of every country because I was ready to get to lose my virginity. I read online women like a well-traveled man, and I wasn't well-traveled, but I was like, fake it until you make it. I learned the capital of every country just so I could lose my virginity. There are 196 countries. I'll prove it to you right now. Yell out any country, I'll tell you its capital just so I could lose my virginity.
Algeria.
Algeria, Algiers. Too easy. Come on, some more. Pakistan, Islamabad, Botswana, Gaborone. Two more countries. Nigeria, Abuja. Thank you. Luxembourg. It's a city-state. Too easy. One more. Georgia, Tbilisi. Ghana, Accra, South Africa, whether it's Pretoria, or you could argue it's Joburg or Bloemfontein. In other news, I lost my virginity to a prostitute. So, who saw that one coming? Not I. I was 18. I had just graduated gay high school, and I'm in Amsterdam on a trip through Europe with 5 friends, and I get a message from who else but Phil. And Phil says, Simon, I see you're in Amsterdam. Do you want to get your rocks off in the red light district? I said, absolutely not, Phil. That kind of life is not for me. No, thank you. But then he says, come on. I'm like, okay. So, we meet up in the red light district, and we see this one woman. She is the most beautiful woman I have ever seen. She's female. And so I go, we knock on her door, she lets us into her office. And I'm like, hi, my name is Simon, this is my companion Phil, it is a pleasure to meet you. She says, take your pants off. We take off our jeans. She says, and your underpants. And I'm like, no. I don't want to do this with Phil, right, Phil? And I look at Phil, and Phil's got his dick out. And she says, okay, let me get someone else. So she goes back here, and she brings out another lady. It was double Dutch. And she says, who do you want? And Phil says, I'm happy either way, mate. Lips are lips. And I'm like, that's the grossest thing anyone's ever said in the history of things. But then the original prostitute, the OP, she said, hurry up, who do you want? And I'm like, I guess I've known you for longer. So the other person, she leaves the first, she's leaving, she turns around, she looks at me, she says, fuck you! I say, you wish? So I'm left with this lady, and I take off my underpants, and she sees my penis, and she says, I'm actually on my period. But then we have sex. I don't know if you've ever lost your virginity to a prostitute, but in mine, it kind of races through every thought all at once. Kind of like, do we kiss? If I go down on you, do I get 50 euros back? And so we go, and it finishes, and that was it. That was how I lost my virginity. Afterwards, you know, we clean up, shake hands. I say that was my first time. And she says, with a prostitute? I say, sure. But then I'm like, no, that was actually my first time. I know it may not have been special for you, but it was kind of special for me. At the same time, I feel kind of conflicted. You know, it's such an ethically, you know, challenging, you know, action. I would love to learn a bit more about you, your life. I'll never forget what she said. She said, my name is Elena. I am 34 years old. I've worked as a prostitute for 8 years. I came over from Croatia with my 2-year-old child. It is good work, it is legal work, it is safe work, it pays the bills just like any other job, and anyone who's looking down on sex work should really be looking down on themselves. Nice. And I said, you're from Croatia? Did you know the capital of Croatia? It's Zagreb. From the other room, and we leave, and as we're walking in the afternoon sun, this whole thing took place at 2 p.m. How much did you pay? I'm like, 150 euros. He says, you paid that much for a blowjob? I said, I beg your pardon? He said, we're just going for a blowjob. You just got a blowjob, right? I was like, no, Phil, I had sex with him. He said, you had what? I'm like, the sex work, man. I thought that's what we were doing. You go to a steakhouse, you order a steak. You don't just order a blowjob. Phil looks at me and says, Simon, you're disgusting. I said, but Phil, you said lips are lips. He said, yes, Simon, lips are lips. What did you think I meant? I said, I would rather not tell you. There was a horrible feeling as I looked in this man's eyes, who I considered to be the most depraved, illicit, unethical person I had ever met. And I could see he now thought I was as good as him, if not worse. I don't know. Keep it going for the comics you've seen tonight, by the way. I know, you guys paid a ticket to see me, but you were forced to see them as well. That doesn't really happen in any other industry. You're forced to see people you didn't pay to see. Like you would never go to have sex with a prostitute. And you're like, hey, I'm really excited to have sex with you. She's like, yeah, but before you do that, you gotta fuck these 3 guys from Atlanta, okay? It's good. I've been getting around. I just got out of a relationship, so now I'm back on the dating apps, and the worst thing in the world. I hate them so much. I think dating apps should add a new feature. You know, you match if you both swipe right. I think dating apps should add a new feature where you match if you both swipe left. You think you're hotter than me? I think I'm hotter than you. Seems like we both need to confront our egos. It's a fun date to go on, right? So, what do you like to do? Not you. I think I've been doing a new thing on the dating apps. I've been putting my height as 5'1". And then I show up to the date and girls are so amazed by how tall I am. I don't even need to try. I'm just on my phone the whole time. They go back to their friends. They're like, how was he? She's like, he wasn't interesting, but he was the tallest man I've ever met. I told that joke once. A guy who's 5'1". He came up to me after the show. He said, Simon, you don't understand. Sorry, he said, Simon, you don't understand. He said, Simon, you don't understand how hard it is to meet women when you are 5'1". I said, sure I do. I was 13. It fucking sucks. And then he gave me an uppercut. To the nuts. So, in a lot of fights, I got in a fight with a military man. He was in uniform. I was freaking out. He was about to punch me. I didn't know what to do. I started singing the national anthem. He had to stand and salute. I was just in a relationship discussion asked me one time, she said, would you ever cheat? And I answered honestly, I said, no, I don't think I could. I've been cheated on before. It sucks. It's so painful. And I can't imagine what it would feel like to see someone who I've betrayed process that betrayal in real time. The closest I think I've ever come to witnessing that, you know when you're driving on the highway and you miss your exit? But there's that like 5 seconds where Google Maps thinks you made your exit? And Google Maps, like, you took the exit, right? You took the exit? I'm just like, no. I'm sorry. That's what I've been cheating's like. I love drives. I love doing long drives all the time. One thing that really bugs me about long drives, you know when you're going on really, really long drives and Google Maps is like, go straight for 200 miles. Yes. You're like, all right, time to lock in for 200 miles. The whole time just so excited, like, what's going to be at mile 200? Am I going to keep left? Am I going to take a right at the 4? What's it going to be? And then you get to mile 200 and Google Maps is like, continue straight for another 300 miles. You just robbed me of 500 miles. That's my dream. I think they should do a new rule. We do speed limits by state in this country. I think we should just do it by whatever number highway you're on. True. I-75, 75 miles per hour. I-10, slow down. I-635, good luck. Been having a good time I got scammed the other day. I've never felt more embarrassed about it. I fell for a scam. Like there was an email, I got an email, it was like, you've been approved for a blue check mark on Facebook. I was like, obviously, yeah, of course. That makes perfect sense. Of course I would have been approved. It was so egotistical. And then I give them all my information. I send it to my dad. I'm like, I fucking got approved for the blue check mark. He's like, that's not, none of those words are spelled correct. That's a scam. And then I looked at it again. I was like, oh fuck, it is a scam. Now I've just been scammed. Like scams are for old people. Old people, they get so mad about scams, right? Old people, they're like, we didn't have scams back in my day. In my day, people were honest, didn't have scams. It's like, no, you just got scammed a bunch and you still don't know. Like that first edition Mickey Mantle baseball card? No, it's not. That time you met Martin Luther King in a dive bar? That was just a guy with a mustache. That one's new. Won't do it again. A lot of things are new, but we're doing well, so I think I'm sick of, you know who really furious? You guys, we can say it, because we're cool. Georgia's like an interesting state. I'm sick of New York. Anytime a New York liberal or a California liberal tries to tell me shit, they're like, oh, I care about this issue, I care about it. It's like, just shut the fuck up. You don't care, because if you really cared, you know what you'd do? You'd move to Georgia. If we're a swing state where your vote actually counts, like you are so happy just living in New York and fucking California, living your great life, being like, ooh, gay people are suffering in Ohio. How about you move to Ohio? Then you realize everyone's suffering in Ohio. I lived in Ohio for 5 years. You think I wanted to live in Ohio? I did it because I cared about other people. All these coastal pieces of shit. So I say all that. I go to vote on the first Tuesday in November. The person's like, you're British. You cannot vote. I do believe it's so fun. I do believe it's such leverage. We have such leverage. We're like, you guys decide the fate of the country. Like, it's amazing. There's a lot of, I bumped into this, I was downtown, I bumped into this homeless guy. And then I told my friend, I was like, bumped into this homeless guy. He was like, who are currently experiencing homelessness. It's true story. So you have to, it goes for everything. So you went from someone an addict, you have to go from someone who's currently experiencing addiction. Yes, I guess don't call me a comedian. Call me someone who's currently experiencing homelessness and addiction. That joke would be funnier if I wasn't born rich. But it's true, I was. If you weren't, I recommend it. It's pretty great. People always hate on people who are born rich. It's like, you haven't even tried it. You gotta say, hey, something until you try it, right? That's the first rule my butler taught me. being rich on stage. I'm used to being on Marvel. But the... This is the silliest jokes of all time. It is weird. People always come up, you said on stage, it's a very privileged thing to say. A very privileged thing to say. It's like, yeah, I'm privileged. I was going to say something from Guatemala. Yeah, some of these jokes I won't say again. But, you gotta say them to know not to say it. Never gets one mistake. I'm sick of all these people on the coast, especially like stand-up comedy. Like, I hate all these stand-up comedy, because stand-up is supposed to be relatable, right? Like that's the #1 thing about comedy you're supposed to relate to it. All these comics now living in New York and LA, they're talking about what it's like living in New York and LA. That's not relatable to everyone. Like, no one can relate to living in New York. I'll tell you what's relatable, downtown Atlanta. Because downtown Atlanta is just downtown Cincinnati. And downtown Cincinnati is just downtown Albuquerque. And downtown Albuquerque is just downtown San Antonio. And downtown San Antonio is just downtown Indianapolis. And downtown Indianapolis is just downtown Minneapolis without the N. Like every downtown in America, in a mid-sized city, is the exact same. It's got one bank going out of business, 2 coffee shops you think are independent, but are really in 34 locations across the Carolinas, 56 parking lots for 78 Hyundai Sonatas, and one 30-story skyscraper that used to be a prison, but is now used to sell insurance. And every single downtown has a stretch of water so green that when the downtown residents in Chicago brag about turning its river green for St. Patrick's Day, the downtown residents say, we do that shit every day. And then lest we forget about the crowning achievement of every single downtown in America, the Greyhound station. My God, you take one wrong turn and you go from a medium nice environment to Mad Max Fury Road. I mean, Greyhound's just the most destitute, decrepit place you've ever seen. It's just you and some family of 4 from the Dust Bowl trying to get back to the 1930s. The only customer service is a dead woman named Marge. And you're like, hey, can I get a ticket? And she's like, yeah, come back tomorrow with a confirmation code. I'm like, how do I get a confirmation code? She's like, that's for you to figure out. Greyhound's slogan should just be, who else is going to take you to Pittsburgh, you broke son of a bitch. I told a joke recently about Columbus, where you live. Yeah, you from there?
I live there.
You live there? Okay, yeah, it's great. It's an awesome place. But I told this joke, and we kind of just about like why I liked living in Columbus, Ohio. And then someone commented, she was like, OMG, so true, people always talking shit about Pittsburgh. I was like, I didn't say shit about Pittsburgh. That joke works better in Pittsburgh. But very good. I've been having a good time on tour though. I recently went up to Vancouver, which is the home of, I found out, Simon Fraser University. Do you guys know there's a university in Vancouver, Canada called Simon Fraser University? That's so, I gave myself a stage name. Fraser's not even, that's my mum's name. I just thought it sounded more British, being in America. Then I found out Simon Fraser University. I named myself after a university. This isn't singing it. Imagine you met another comedian. He was like, hey man, I got a station. You're like, that's cool. What's your station? And he was like, Johns Hopkins. He would go, that's a stupid station. So, because when you Google Simon Fraser, the university always shows up above my name. I'm a comedian trying to grow an online following. I tell people to follow me after a show. They enroll in a 4-year bachelor program. I went to visit Simon Fraser University while I was up in Vancouver. I have never felt more powerful in my life. I went to the library, I was talking in the quiet section, librarian was like, who do you think you are? I said, I'm Simon Fraser. I believe you work for me. But one day I found this out, this is a very true and shocking thing about Simon. You know, if you go to Georgia, you're a bulldog. The mascot for people who go to Simon Fraser, completely true, the Simon Fraser Klansman. Completely true, I don't know why, I'm not joking, that's just what their name is. Do you realize how hard that is for me as a comedian? People enjoy my comedy, I want to find out more about the Simon Fraser guy. And then they go into Google and the first result that shows up is Simon Fraser Klansman. Do you realize how hard that is for me when they click on that first result and it's a photo of me at Charlottesville? Like how? I gotta stop listening to advice from, like, media. thing. Like one time, back in college, I was in love with my best friend, and I never told her. But then like one night, she was like, "Oh, I've got feelings for you," and I was like, "Oh no, let's not do it." And she was like, "Why?" And I was like, "Nothing good happens after 2 a.m." Which is advice from How I Met Your Mother. I took advice from Ted Mosby. That's the stupidest thing I've ever done. Ted Mosby is like the 2000s generation of Joe Biden. He just kind of like he says like 5 things that go down as historical quotes, and everything else are like, that was the fucking stupidest thing I've ever heard. No one should Ted Mosby gave advice on the show for 9 years. No one should listen to anyone's advice for 9 years straight. You should pick and choose. Like Joe Rogan has done his podcast for over 9 years. If you listen to every piece of advice Joe Rogan gave, you would be an incredibly fit, incredibly well-read, elk-eating anti-vaxxer who says the N-word and does stand-up comedy. And that's from best to worst, just to be clear. Listen, my mistake. It's like the most uncreative thing of all time. Like Portland, Maine. That's just a guy who was like, oh, that's a port, there's land, boom, there we go, Portland, Maine. And then they get so less creative. Like there's a place, all these places, they're so dull, like Mechanicsburg, Circle City. That's just because like a city's in a circle. My favorite one's called Plain City, Ohio. I went there, I went to a restaurant in Plain City, Ohio, and they did exactly what I thought they were going to do. I was like, do you guys have tacos? They were like, we have 1 cheeseburger. I was like, can I get that with sweet potato fries? She was like, do you think you can get that with sweet potato fries? I was like, I do not. Get into a lot of debates, also being around America, there's a lot of debates around like creationism, right? A lot of people believe like God created the universe, a lot of people believe science created the universe. I personally think it's a mix. Like I think science did a lot and God did some, but the way people on both sides want to tell you, it's almost like, they're like just furious, they're trying to take all the credit. Science and God are like 2 divorced parents trying to take credit for you being the reason you are who you are. Like science is the mother and God is the father, obviously. And science is like very caring, studies your every move with a microscope and explain everything about you. God's like, oh yeah, that was me. Yeah, I did that. It's in my book. And like science, it's always there for you, watching over you. God, you only get to see for 1 hour every Sunday, but that Sunday's pretty cool. There's always black people singing in the back, He does ask you for money, but who's God is perfect. And then like also whenever there's like a mistake, whenever there's a defect, they always blame the other person. Like if you ever like develop some kind of disease, science is like, well that was an act of God. And God is like, told you not to be gay. So TikTok thinks I'm gay, I'll tell you that. You ever convinced TikTok you're not gay? That's a chore. I was scrolling through TikTok the other day, dude showed up dancing in his underwear. I scrolled past, I was like, I don't want that. TikTok showed me another dude dancing in his underwear. I was like, I don't want that. TikTok was like, you want that. I was like, I don't want that. TikTok's like, you want everything else we show you? You want that. I was like, maybe I want that. Want that. I didn't know I was straight. I just started searching like the straightest searches I could imagine. You're like sexy woman in panties. But the searches were so straight, they were suspicious. Like TikTok stopped showing me dudes dancing in their underwear. Just started showing me therapists being like, so you're in the closet about being gay. Very maybe. I don't know. Had a good time. I feel this is very nice. I should say this as well. I used to, for merch, I would always sell, I had a really easy thing going. I would just go to Simon Fraser University, buy all the sweatshirts, and then sell them for triple the price. But then Simon Fraser University caught on to that. So I do have this. There's nothing funny about it, but if you want a shirt, I'm trying to trying to sell. I bought these for way too much money, so please, someone take it. I only have smalls and extra smalls left. I underestimated how fat America is. Some stereotypes are very true. I was like, that's ridiculous. There's no way that they're going to sell out of the largest and extra large. No. Big people, big country. I love America. America's so cool. I love all your measurement. I love the yard. The yard is the greatest American measurement of all time. Because the yard is, all these Europeans are like, oh no, a yard is 3 feet, which is 91.4 centimeters. And one guy in America's like, nah, a yard's gonna be from here to here, okay? You get the fuck out of here with your little measurements, alright? And it was like, how do we measure? We got different sized feet. So it doesn't matter the size of your feet from here to here is a yard. And it was like, okay, that's cool. What are we going to call the area of grass outside our house? He was like, that's also going to be a yard. So, I love it. And then America, the way you measure time is it's just the best. You guys don't use clocks, you just say Mississippi. It doesn't matter how quick or how slow you say Mississippi. Oh, the Europeans are like, that's not accurate, that's not accurate. And we're all like, you don't need to be accurate, correct. Love America, man. Best Mexican food in the world. Alright, I'll get out of here very quickly, unless I want to say one more thing, other than thank you so much for coming out. Really appreciate it. What that might be. Maybe. I bumped into a gay guy in college named Fernando. And I knew he was gay because his name was Fernando. And he invited me out to dinner. I was like, I got nothing going, sure, make a new friend, go out to dinner. We go out to dinner. He is so charming. He makes me laugh, he makes eye contact, he pays. I go back to my 2 roommates, I tell them all about my new best friend Fernando. One of them says, Simon, Fernando's clearly trying to have sex with you. I say, I'm sorry you're so homophobic. You don't think a gay guy can just be friends with a straight? What makes you so sure Fernando wants to have sex with me? And one of them says, Simon, we're both gay. And we have never once paid for your dinner. And in the great American tradition of being presented with new information, I chose to double down on my original point. So for the next 2 weeks, Fernando and I were just texting non-stop. He's texting me like, hey, thinking of you, how's your day going? I'm loving it. I'm like, oh geez, so much better now that I heard from you. I'm just like, this is what every male friendship should be like. It's so positive, there's no toxicity. So Sunday night, Fernando texts me, do you want to come over and watch Harry Potter? And believe it or not, growing up, I had never seen Harry Potter. So I was like, what better time than right now? This was 2 a.m. to watch Harry Potter with my new best friend Fernando. So I go to leave, as I'm leaving, my 2 roommates, they see me leaving. One of them says, Simon, where are you going? I said, I'm going to watch Harry Potter with Fernando. And one of them says, fuck! He gives the other one $20. I'm like, what was that for? He says, don't worry about it. So I go, I get to Fernando's house, I knock on his door, he opens up, I say, Fernando! He says, Simon! I say, I'm so excited to watch Harry Potter! He says, and so we get inside, I'm like, Fernando, there's no TV! In the living room! Where are we gonna watch? He says, oh, let's go watch in my room. I'm like, okay. So we go to his room, I sit on the couch, he says, come sit with me on the bed. I'm like, but the couch? He says, but the bed is so much more comfy. I'm like, that's a great point. And so I go, I sit on the bed, and Fernando puts his arm around me. So at this point, do I realize he is trying to have sex with me. He thinks I'm gay. And if I were him, I would also think I'm gay. Like, I've come around Sunday night, 2 a.m. to watch Harry Potter. I don't think there are any mixed signals here at all. But here's the thing, I'm not gay. I don't necessarily want to be gay, but I also don't want to be a bad house guest. You know, like, he's invited me. My parents raised me, right? So I said, I'm going to stay. But as long as I don't do anything explicitly gay, I'm not gay. He says, do you want to get under the covers? And I'm like, I guess it is a little chilly. What's gay about being warm, right? Get under the covers. He says, do you want to take your shirt off? Guess I'm a little hot now. take my shirt. He says, do you want to cuddle? I'm like, I've hugged guys before. What's gay about doing it sideways and from behind? So now I am under the covers, shirtless, cuddling with Fernando. Fernando starts stroking my chest. I'm like, that feels pretty good. But also, he's not making a move, so it's okay. He says, can I kiss your nipple? And I'm like, absolutely. And so he starts kissing my nipple. I'm lying there so uncomfortable, like as straight as can be. But also, I have scoliosis, so not perfectly straight. Just like, don't forget about the other nipple. And so he goes down, he kisses my underwear. My pants had come off. And he says, can I give you a blowjob? Lips are lit. And so he takes off my underpants and he sees my penis and he says, I'm actually on my period. Alright, thank you